was just speaking to someone else in your department, and she told me you're using a title of Operations Manager for Vital Records Arizona. Is that correct?
Operations Office Chief, yes.
Okay. This is the question I have. The legal language, as you may or may not be aware of, is different than normal language, and it's called legalese. And I was reading on the Arizona Department of Health Services first. It looks like it says, who can obtain a birth certificate? And the very first sentence says, only persons 18 years of age or older may obtain a certified copy of a birth certificate. The birth certificate being a legal document invokes legalese language. So the word person, do you know what the word person means in the legal language?
Okay, I'm not going to pick apart our rule and statute. What question do you have regarding requesting a birth certificate? Are you needing to request a birth certificate?
Well, it depends on the language being used, because if it says only persons may obtain a copy of the birth certificate. So what does the word persons mean?
Are you trying to request your birth certificate or someone else's birth certificate? It's not going to define our rule and statute for you. But if you need to make a request from our office?
This is a legal document, the birth certificate, right?
It is a vital record registered with the Arizona Department of Health Services.
Which makes it...
I'm not going to define if our record is a legal document or not.
Why would that be?
Because that is not something that I am going to do. I can tell you how to request a record, and if you are eligible to request a record.
Let me ask you this: can a living being request and receive a birth certificate?
It depends if that living being is eligible under our rules and statutes. So if you have an example, I can tell you if that person is eligible or not.
Well, that is the example, living being. So, like me, I'm a living being. Can I request and receive a birth certificate? Because it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that on your website. It says only persons. It doesn't mention living beings, men, women, anything like that.
Okay. So if the living being who is requesting the birth certificate is eligible, they may request it, and they can get a copy of a birth certificate. So who are you referring to?
Me.
Okay. Whose birth certificate do you want to request?
Well, that's the interesting part. It's kind of a catch-22, because in order for me to request it, what you're going to be looking for is a name, right? A legal name. Correct?
If you are requesting your own birth certificate, you would have to prove that you are who you say you are.
Oh, I can just stand in front of you and prove that. I can just stand in front of the whoever's employed by Vital Records. I just stand there, and you can't get any better proof than that. You're not looking for that, though, are you? You're looking for a legal name. Correct?
Yes, you would have to carry identification in the form of the name that matches the birth record.
Right, and in order to get ID, you have to have the birth certificate to begin with, right?
Generally, yes.
So how do you get the birth certificate when you don't have any ID to begin with?
Do you have a specific question to your birth certificate?
Well, I don't...
Tell me that you don't have ID?
How could I get ID?
I'm not run through every scenario with you. Do you or do you not have identification?
No, I don't.
Okay,
It's not legal. It's not legal to have ID, ma'am. It's illegal.
Okay. Our rule and statute states that you will properly identify yourself. So if you do not have valid government issue identification to submit with an application, you would be required to have your signature notarized on the application.
Does that signature have to be a legal signature?
It has to be the applicant's signature, and it has to be notarized. So the notary would witness the applicant signing the application.
Okay. And does that have to match the one on the birth certificate?
There is no signature on a birth certificate.
That's right, but the name, the signature will be a name. Does it have to match the one on the birth certificate? For example, if I was ordering using the child's name on the birth certificate, and I signed that name, is that what's required, or can any name be the signature name?
It depends who's requesting the birth certificate. Are you referring to you yourself requesting your own birth certificate?
Yeah.
If you're requesting your own birth certificate, your signature, your name, must match the name on the birth certificate.
Oh, okay. I got you. Now, the one on the birth certificate is a legal name, and so I would have to sign a legal name. How would I do that, given the fact that I'm not a member of the legal society, I'm not an attorney? I don't have any expressed permission
Again,
to use
I'm
legal
not
names.
going to define what a legal name is. I'm telling you that if you are the registrant listed on the birth certificate, you would sign the application in your name that appears on your valid government issue identification or have your signature notarized.
How is it possible to be a registrant on the birth certificate? I mean, you're talking about something, a symbol, a series of letters on a piece of paper. How could I be that?
I am not going to go into what a registrant is or is not.
Well,
Do you want to request your birth certificate? I will tell you how to do that.
Well,
I'm not going to argue. I am not going to argue this with you.
The reason. Hold on a second. Are you a bar attorney?
I am not a bar attorney.
And this is probably why you're not saying anything about what's legal and what's not.
No,
Because you're forbidden from doing that. And so what I'm telling you is, I am also forbidden from doing any illegal things, just like you. That's you're very much forbidden from doing it. That's why you are avoiding any legal discussion.
I'm not going to engage in this conversation anymore. Do you or do you not want to request your birth certificate? I can guide you through how to request your birth certificate.
My birth certificate, it can't be mine until what? Until I actually get it. So it would be a request for a birth certificate. And how can I request it without being a bar attorney? That's a legal document. And you just told me I have to use a legal name in order to get it. I have to sign a legal name that matches the name of the child in order to get it. And I'm telling you, that would be against the law. That would be fraud, it would be impersonation, and would also be copyright infringement.
Okay, would you like to go to our website to look up the eligibility requirements to request a birth certificate, or would you like me to mail them to you?
Well, if you can tell me what a person is, it would clear things
I'm
up.
not going to tell you what a person is. I'm going to direct you to how to apply for a birth certificate, or I will mail you the instructions on how to apply for a birth certificate.
Did you know
Which
that?
one would you like?
Here's the thing. If you're going to help me to get a birth certificate, which is a legal process, you're actually in a very dangerous position there, because you're involving yourself in a legal process without any legal authority to do so.
I'm not going to argue.
You're not an attorney.
And this is it. And I think you need to know this proper name. Well, if I ask you, before I look at this actually, before I put it up, ask yourself, what's your proper name? Okay? I think most of you will get this wrong. So ask yourself, in the eyes of the law, what is your proper name? And now I'll tell you what it actually is. Here we go. So this is from Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition, sorry. Proper name. The first or Christian name of a person. So I think most of you would have included the family name, which we'll discover is actually more correctly termed a surname, was part of your proper name. But it's not. But in the eyes of the law identifies your proper name, the proper name of a person, as being the first or Christian name. You know what? There's something else to be drawn from that. Any other name for a at definition of a different sort of name. Let's have a look at the definition of legal name. And this is from Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition. Legal name consists of one Christian name and one surname. So, and we've just identified that the Christian name is the proper name. So when you combine your proper name with a surname, okay, moving on. Let's have a look at that surname then. If the surname added to the proper name creates a legal name, which is by extension an improper name, what do they say about the surname? Well, surname, the family name, the name over and above the Christian name. Well, if you understand anything about hierarchies, you'll know that if it's over and above, it has more authority. Okay, so if they tell, and that's from Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition, the name over and above the Christian name. You might say, oh, that's just a quirky definition. Well, I'll just go and have a look at one other thing. This is from dictionary.com. This is a definition of the prefix sir. So surname, so it's, what sort of name is a surname? Well, it's the sir name. And what does sir mean? A prefix meaning over, above, in addition. And they provide surname as an example. So, if a law dictionary says that the surname is over and above the Christian name, I think that's exactly what the surname was designed to be. A name which takes authority over the Christian name. Now, let's just have a look at one more definition of surname. This is from Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1856. This is quite interesting. This is just setting out and pointing out to you that the surname is not in fact a family name. So surname, this is a definition in the Law Dictionary, surname. In modern, and remember this is 1856, okay? And if you look at the history of surnames, they actually started, well, probably officially started for most people around 1500. It's when they started to be used by most people. Okay, so 1500. So it says, in modern times, well, in 1856, modern times would be around the 1800s, wouldn't it? In modern time, so surname, in modern times, have become family names. Okay? And if you want to also get into why they're over and above and have authority over the Christian name, it also says here, they are called surnames because originally they were written over the name in judicial writings and contracts. So they were written over the top of the Christian name in judicial writings and contracts. That's why they're called surnames, because they're over and above the Christian name, and have taken authority over it. And the fact that it says in modern times have become family names tells you that surname isn't another name for family name, quite the opposite. Family name is another name for surname. What happened was surnames were imposed on people, if you look into the history of it, and over time, but all members of one family would have the same surname. Over time, people, over the generations, people lost sight of where it originally came from and began to think of it as a name for their family. And the common people began to call it a family name, which is why they say in modern times have become family names. But they weren't designed to be family names. It was designed to be a name that was over and above the Christian name and had authority over and above the Christian name.